All right, 6MB, we're moving on to chapter 11. This is a geometry chapter. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the very first lesson of chapter 11 is about angle and line relationships. So let's just talk about a couple of things. First of all, what is an angle, right? An angle is two rays, which are sort of one-ended line segments, if you will. Rays go on and on in one direction, and they have an endpoint. So an angle is made up of two rays that have a common endpoint known as the vertex. Okay, so that's what an angle is. And angles can be named in a couple of different ways. Oftentimes, angles are named by 3 points. So if I called this X and I called this Y and I called this Z, this could be called angle, and that's the symbol for angle. Angle X, Y, Z. And notice that the vertex, which is that point where the two rays converge, the vertex is always the middle letter when you're naming the angle. So we could call this angle angle XYZ, or another name that would be equally correct, we could call this angle ZYX. And in both situations, the vertex is named right there in the middle. So that is one way in which we can name an angle. It's also not uncommon at all to call this angle 1. We put a little number inside the angle, we can call this angle 1. And sometimes it might also just be called, angle Y. Instead of having a 1 in there, I could have a Y in there instead. But this is pretty customary to name an angle using 3 points. One from one of the rays, another point which is the vertex, and then the third point is from the second ray that makes up the angle.